And our final one, struggle. Wow, how fitting. Welcome and welcome back, everybody. It's Tabletop Toki here, and in today's video, we'll be doing a preview of Aqua ROVE. During the course of the playthrough, I'll give a tutorial about how the base game is played, and be sure you stick around for the end of the video where I share my thoughts about the game in general. A huge shout out to Button Shy Games for providing me with a copy to preview and share with y'all here today. And since it is a preview copy, things are subject to change for the retail release, but without further ado, let's get started. Here we have a game of Aqua ROVE set up and ready to play. Over the course of the game, our goal is to complete missions by orienting modules in the given configuration. We'll do so using movement cards and unique module abilities that are one-time use per game. So for setup, we're going to start by shuffling up our deck, placing one card off to the side as our first mission, and drawing a hand of starting cards. For standard game, we'll draw 5 cards and place them with their movement side up. Then we'll shuffle our modules and set them in a 2x3 grid. On your turn, you'll be able to use a combination of special module abilities and movement cards. To use a module ability, you'll simply do what the card text says and then flip it over to its spent side. So these are once per game. To use a movement card, you'll first check to see if the 2 modules are adjacent to one another, meaning that they're touching edge to edge or corner to corner. If so, you'll add 1 to the overall movement value and then move modules based on the type of movement. An arrow indicates that you can move in that direction as many spaces as you want, and you can even jump over other placed cards. The bulb on the end of the card means that you can move 1 space in any of those directions. The flat edge is a push where you can move 1 in that direction, but if you do so, you also can push other adjacent cards with that movement. Now, when you move cards, it's important to make sure that they stay within the grid and that the cards are all connected in one group, edge to edge or corner to corner. You can also never have modules overlapping one another, nor can they be placed askew to where they're only partially on the grid. If we successfully complete a mission, then we will draw a card for the new mission and draw a single movement card to refill our hands. And that's all we need to know to get started. So we're just going to jump right in here. Our first mission is Peak, which this configuration is not bad. However, we do have some cards that need to be adjacent to one another that really aren't. I think what we're actually going to do is use this 3 movement card here to move 1. And although we need this here, these are in a better spot for this card. So I think what we're actually going to do is use one of the module abilities right out the gate. This one allows us to ignore the requirement of one of the mission modules. So we're going to use that. We'll see if we regret it later, but we do have the configuration for Peak with one of the 2 module placements ignored. We are going to then move on to Descent. And we're going to refill with 1 card. We fill back up to our hand of 5, which is pretty good, even though we had to use an ability right away. So now we have Descend. We want this in the bottom corner. We want this up here. So if we have another jump, that would be great. So we'll do 2 movements here to play 1, then 2. And unfortunately, we don't have a third to move this here. What we could do is we can reposition a spent module to be next to an unspent one. I think we'll go ahead and do that. Again, I'm not sure if it's great for us to be using these cards right away, but I think it's better than using a whole nother movement card. So we have Ride as our 3rd mission. We're going to draw 1 card for completing the mission. And let's see, these are kind of adjacent, but the rest of the cards are way out of whack, not anywhere near where we want them to be, except these 2. So this is kind of our center here, and we need to move this over here, 1 over here, and 1 up here. So let's see if we can make that happen relatively easily. We might have to start using some of these singular movement cards. This one does give us +1 movement right now, so maybe we'll do this for 4 movement. In order to do that, we said we want to move 1. Oh, but then we can't move these over. 2, 3, and then we're 1 off. Yikes. 4. This needs to be right here, so we will have to use an additional card, unfortunately. Any of these looking good for next time? This one is, so we'll use this one for 3 to move, boom. And we'll pull our next mission, which is Evade. This is our 1, 2, 3, 4th mission, so we're almost at the halfway point. We draw 1 card for our hands. Let's see, we need this all the way down here. We do have a jump, but unfortunately, it's not a diagonal jump. So what else can we do? This can be here. Let's start using our push action. This one gives us +1 push. Let's go ahead and utilize that. Actually, these are not going to be next to each other soon. So let's use that. We have 5 movement with push activated. So let's do 1, 2. Again, this is our kind of center that I'm building off of. 3, 4, 5. And then we need 2 more to get down to there. Or we can just use this 3. Jumping is pretty good. We don't know what our next mission is though, because it's on the back of here. One is more flexible. These are both just orthogonal movement. So we'll use this and we'll move 1, 2. So we now have evade in the correct orientation. Again, we're not going to shuffle. We're just going to flip these over. We have observe and we have another movement card. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only have to complete 3 more missions and we have a healthy amount of abilities left and cards so far. So we'll see if we're successful here. Ooh, and this one's really good for us. I think we can do it in 3 movements. Let's see, 1, 2. Nope, we can't. We need to get one all the way down here. We can move this one, but we don't have a great jump except for here. These are not adjacent, but I think we have to do it. This is jumping to this space. 1, and then we have 2, and we just need 1 more to get to here. Do we want to use a card or do we want to use one of these? We can get +2 movement points. That seems better than wasting a whole card. And then we're going to place our next mission, our penultimate mission, collect, and we get 1 more card here. Oh, these are not very flexible. We need a whole bunch of stuff that is not anywhere near where they need to go, unfortunately. So what can we do? Do we want to shift everything down around this card? I'm honestly not really sure. Place an adjacent module in any valid positions. We could put this all the way down here. We can't place this up here because we have this card then out in the middle of nowhere. Maybe we want to use this to move that up, and we're going to use this to kind of get some other things in place for now. I think that might be our best bet. Let's use one of these. We do have 4 movement from this card. So knowing that this will be a freebie to flip up, let's do 1 here, and we want this to be here eventually. So they need to get up all the way. Now that this is free, where was that? Place an adjacent module in any valid position. And we've used, let's actually mark these because we had 4, now we have 3 left because this is getting a little tricky. Let's move this up here. We have 2 movement left. We need to get this up. So boom, boom, and then this will have to go here. Oh, nope, they have to go up and over. So do we want to use the 3 or do we want to use the 4? I think we'll use the 3 because that's less movement and it's a little, well, but we have diagonals, which is a little bit more flexible. So maybe we'll use the 4 push to move 1, 2, 3. And then it looks like we have the correct orientation here. So that is heat, descend, ride, evade, observe, collect, and our final one, struggle. Wow, how fitting. We're gonna draw this last card here. We have 2 available abilities. Oh boy, that's not great. And our 2 cards that we need are up here. Swap 2 modules that are adjacent to each other. Let's start with that because then these 2 can swap and at least they're in the right position. I think we want to use this 3 card to get things up and over as much as we can. Oh, do we have adjacency? No, but we can do 1. That's out of our 3, so we have 2 left. 2, and then, oh, we got it. Yep, we can jump 3 over here, and then we discard this last one to move, boom, right there, which has our struggle just in the nick of time. We could have discarded it to draw 2 more movement cards, which could have been helpful, but luckily we were able to complete a successful journey of 7 missions in today's journey. So there you have it. That is a solo playthrough of Aqua ROVE. I really love this implementation of the ROVE systems. The main differences between Aqua ROVE and regular ROVE, if you're familiar, is that in regular ROVE, each module has a specific type of movement that it can use versus each movement card dictating the types of movement that can be done by any module. So even though they use a similar system, the game does feel quite different in terms of how the puzzling out works with moving different modules when you're using those special abilities and what have you. I really love the addition as well of the little movement point trackers on the cards, because especially if you're planning out a multi-move based on one card, it can be really tricky. I like the flexibility too of just having modules adjacent to one another for extra movement, whereas in the regular Rove, they have to be positioned specifically on the grid in relation to one another. Beyond that, I really personally love underwater themes, so having an aqua version of a game that I already loved with some changes to make it feel unique but bring more puzzly goodness, it's just W's across the board from me. When they first announced Aqua ROVE, I was really excited, but I was worried it would be too similar to Rove and that I would just prefer one over the other. But like I said, I do think that there's just enough variety there to make it viable to have both copies, as they give slightly different feels. So if any of that sounds good to you, I would absolutely recommend checking out Aqua ROVE for a great solo puzzle on the go. And that's all the time we have for today. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please feel free to subscribe down below. It's free and it really helps out the channel. Or if you're feeling a little spicy, you could even sign up for a membership on the channel for as low as 99 cents. That's less than $1, folks. Thanks so much as always for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.